Today, we're going to take a look at some of the various ways that we can style our text. We'll look at using fonts. We'll take a look at using color and letter spacing and size and lots of things like that. Let's open up our editor, and we have the name NetTuts. If we load it in the browser, as you would expect, it displays in the browser defaults. So let's begin. I'm going to go to style.css, and I'm going to target all H1s on the page. And the first thing is, to make it easier to read, just for our demo, we're going to set it really tall to 60 pixels. Reload, and why don't we set it even taller, 120. There we are. Next, again, just for the demo, let's align it on the page, like so. And we'll then apply some margin top, just to get a nice layout so that we can have some fun with this. First, you already know how to change the font by doing Font Family. And here you can see we have lots of options. If we want monospace, this is a good font choice when embedding code. Reload, and now you can see a monospace font is where every single letter is the exact same width. Select these, you can see that that highlighted section is the exact same width each time. Another option is to use something like Helvetica. Reload, and if the computer has the Helvetica font installed, it will use that. Another option is Arial, which is almost identical. You probably could barely tell the difference. And we've learned that if we do sans serif, the browser will automatically choose a font of that style. Another option would be to use a generic font like Cursive. Reload, and now you're going to get a fancy font. And note that it's not a specific font. It's not the cursive font. It'll simply instruct your browser to use any font that's installed on your computer that matches the cursive style. Now, it's important to note that you're not doing print here. So just because I bought a really amazing font does not mean I can then use it on my website. Because remember, you're not transmitting fonts with your website. If it works on your computer, that does not mean it will work on another person's computer. Now, that does not mean you can't use custom fonts. It just means you can't assume that the person browsing your website is going to have the same fonts installed that you do. Now, we'll come back to that shortly. Next, let's take a look at letter spacing. But before we do, I'm going to bring this back to sans serif. Print designers know that they often tweak the spacing between each letter. And we can do that in CSS as well. Letter spacing. Now we can set this to a positive or a negative value. Positive, maybe 5 pixels. You could do something huge, like so. And you can even do a negative value. It's quite common and stylish to do -1, which pushes it together ever so slightly. Remember, depending upon the font size, you may be able to get away with a little more negative spacing. So with an H1, -5 doesn't look that bad. However, if you did P, letter spacing -5, and let's go ahead and add that on, like so, you'll see that that looks awful, of course, because the font size is much lower. So with the P tag, you might even want to keep that to its defaults. I'll go ahead and get rid of that, and the associated paragraph as well.